Mesdames et messieurs, les garçons et les filles, bienvenue à Amusement Passion, le canal premier pour toutes les choses de la foot des femmes. And based on that introduction, welcome to this video where we'll be looking at all the transfers that have transpired in the top division of women's football in France here. Without further ado, we'll get kicked off in Olympique Lyonnais, who have signed 29-year-old Lindsay Horan from the Portland Thorns here. She is of course one of the players who featured at the Women's World Cup for the USWNT and featured in that horrific accident of a penalty shootout loss to Sweden here. And it is a horrific accident because it's the USA. People are rooting for them to get their third consecutive title, but unfortunately they crashed out of the World Cup at the hands of Sweden here. But that's besides the point. Looking at Lindsay Horan, she is a very great attacking threat and has a very good eye for goal, as you can see from the goal that she scored at the World Cup against the Netherlands. Hell hath no fury than a Lindsay Horan score, ladies and gentlemen. Do not mess with this woman when it comes to attacking here. She is a pure nightmare for a defender, and she is also a treble winner with Olympique Lyonnais, where she has won the league and also, of course, have your shots in hand ready here, the Women's Champions League as well. And she is also a Women's World Cup winner, which she won in 2019 with the Stars and Stripes of the United States of America. Joining her in attack will be Kadidiatou Diani, who is joining on a free transfer, believe it or not, from Paris Saint-Germain. And Diani was born in 1995. She also featured at the Women's World Cup, where she was a prolific goal scorer for France alongside the likes of Eugénie Le Sommer. And she also managed to score a hat-trick at the World Cup against Panama in that thrilling 6-3 win there for France. And she had 17 goals in 17 games last season in the domestic league for Paris Saint-Germain, who she has also won a league winner with. And Lyon are pretty much pulling out all the stops when it comes to propping up their attack this season. And Horan and Diani will be already joining Eugénie Le Sommer, who's also there at Olympique Lyonnais. And moving on from Olympique Lyonnais, we move on to Paris Saint-Germain themselves, with Les Parisiens signing the services of Viola Caligaris from Levante here, who was born in 1996 and also featured at the Women's World Cup, at this time for Switzerland. She is pretty much an all-action fullback who primarily shines in attack here. He's also a very good passer and is overall a very great signing for PSG here, as she's definitely going to add something to the team here as they seek to keep on trying their efforts in usurping Lyon's victory in the league here and pretty much trying to usurp the dominance and assert themselves in the same way that the men's team have when it comes to the Division 1 in France here. Now over to Ana Vitória, who has also signed on for PSG, but this time from Benfica. She was born in 2000 and featured for Brazil at the Women's World Cup as well. She is primarily comfortable in the attacking midfield position as well as off on the wing, but primarily there in the former position that I've mentioned. She's a very consistent goal scorer and she has pretty much completed Portuguese football, as she won all the domestic titles on offer there in Benfica as well as the league itself. So that is also another very good signing by PSG. She will be joined by Teniba Samura from Paris FC, who has joined on a free. She is a promising young defender who was born in 2004 and is definitely one for the future here for Les Parisiens. And hopefully she can get herself some very key and valuable minutes here for PSG and can assert herself in the years to come on the backline of the Parisians here. And the final signing for PSG is Aissatou Tunkara, who is joining from Manchester United also on a free. She will also be joining the defensive backline with the likes of Samura, and I think she'll be a very good mentor figure for Samura here, as Tunkara is a very good passer off the ball and is very good at defending, very solid as I've mentioned before. She had a little bit of a lull last season. She was definitely not at her best, but she is nonetheless a very good defender. If you just look up highlights of her efforts on YouTube here, where we're talking and conversating between you and I right now, not really, you know what I mean, you'll see that she's very proficient when it comes to her defending and is definitely another good signing by PSG in my opinion. So all the best for her and her teammates at PSG. But moving away from Paris, we now go to Montpellier, where they have signed Kethna Louis from Reims to Montpellier. Of course, Louis was born in 1996 and represented Haiti in their first ever World Cup for both the men's and women's side, but obviously for the women's side here in 2023, she kept a total of 5 clean sheets in 20 games last season in France, and she is a tough tackling and no-nonsense classical centre back who is pretty much almost in the same vein of Alison Swaby, who I mentioned in our previous video, as joined AC Milan. And I think Louis is definitely going to be be a very good player for Montpellier, and hopefully she can keep on kicking on from the World Cup, and her efforts will soon be recognized by bigger clubs, and hopefully she can get herself a bigger move here. But apart from that, she will be joining Nina Ngeleu. I hope I pronounced that correctly. She is of Cameroonian descent, and she has joined from Paris Saint-Germain. She was born in 2004 and is a promising starlet who's looking for game time here, which is pretty much the motivation behind her move, because she was getting next to no opportunities at PSG for obvious reasons. But hopefully now where she is going at Montpellier, she can get her opportunities to shine and really show what she's made of. And based on her early performances, she is slowly getting into that rhythm and groove, and will definitely be one of the better players to watch out for this season, at least in the young range of players here. And the final two transfers that I managed to find coming out of France on individual levels here is Sarah Hunter, born in 2003, who has joined all the way from the land down under in Sydney FC to Paris FC here. She was voted the Young Player of the Year in the A-League last season, where she won the A-League Women's Championship with Sydney FC. She's a very promising attacking midfielder with 7 goal contributions in 80 matches for Sydney FC last season, and she can only go up from here. Paris FC are one of the bigger clubs in Division 1 for the French women's teams, and hopefully they can give Hunter the necessary time and resources to continue growing her game and become an even better player. And maybe the Matildas have a Sam Kerr region already in waiting with Sarah Hunter, but that's just my opinion. We'll see as the years go by. And finally, we have Nesrine Balouli, also born in 2003, who has joined FC Bordeaux from AC Milan here, and is also one player for the future who's hoping to settle at Bordeaux, as she's pretty much been across a few number of clubs. She's been at Olympique Lyonnais, where of course she's won what's there to win with Olympique Lyonnais, because it's Olympique Lyonnais. And last season she was at AC Milan, and now she's at Bordeaux. Primarily at Bordeaux, just like Ngeleu, who I mentioned earlier. Balouli here is looking for game time and hoping to settle, because she's never really gotten opportunities at Lyon for obvious reasons, and those same reasons are likely the same for AC Milan. So hopefully here at Bordeaux she'll get the necessary game time that she's looking for to continue growing her game and become a better player, because there's definitely something that her previous two clubs have seen to want to secure her services here, and hopefully she can really show that and shine on at Bordeaux. But those are the transfers that I was able to find coming out of France. Were you able to find any that I didn't mention in this video? If you were, please write them down in the comments. I would really be interested and would love to know these transfers, and the transfers will be continuing. We've got Spain and Germany left to cover, and some of the transfers that these teams have done is just incredible in my opinion. I think Montpellier have done very well in acquiring the services of Louis and Ngeleu. If you're watching the World Cup, especially the matches for Haiti, you'll see that Ketha Louis was one of the best defenders around. It's a shame that they were just facing off against much stronger oppositions, but Louis, in my opinion, really did put a good account of herself when she was playing for a national team, and is definitely going to be one of the better defenders to watch out for this season. That's my own opinion again. And I'm also very excited to see how the likes of Ngeleu, Hunter and Balouli do at their new clubs. Obviously, they're young starlets looking to get themselves established in the game, and given the fearlessness that has been on display for young players in general across the board, I really do think that the future is bright for these three, and hopefully they can show what they're made of, and clubs will have no choice but to sit up and take notice of these talents here. But those are my thoughts on it. What are your thoughts on these transfers and more? Please make sure to like, share and subscribe. You can watch the other videos that I've covered in terms of transfers for England and Italy. That'll be on your video somewhere out now. But other than that, I'll see you in the next video.